Every single time we are introduced to a new Pokemon region, and all of the brand new Pokemon that come along with it, one of the very first things that people begin to hold out hope for is a new Eeveelution. Eeveelutions are a very special treat in Pokemon because not only are they fun, but they only happen every once in a while. We have not seen a new one since Sylveon in 2013, and only 4 out of the currently 8 known regions have introduced an Eeveelution so far. But what if it wasn't that way? What if every region that didn't introduce an Eeveelution actually introduced one? What type of Eeveelution would they introduce, and why? And what might they look like? Well, today we are going to be exploring this exact set of questions. The fan art that I'm going to be featuring in this video will also be credited in the description, so be sure to check out the amazing artists that drew them. And with all of that said, let's jump right in. Okay, so as I mentioned, 4 regions out of the currently known 8 have no Eeveelution to show for themselves, and those would be Hoenn, Univa, Alola, and Galar. Going in chronological order, the first region to lack an Eevee evolution was Hoenn. Hoenn is actually unique in this respect because it is the only Japanese-based Pokemon region that did not introduce an Eeveelution, which actually makes its lack of one all the more surprising. There is, however, an Eeveelution type that is a really good fit for Hoenn. For the purpose of this video, I'm only going to be covering one pick per region, because although most regions that have Eeveelutions introduced 2 or more, picking one allows for more thoughtful selections, which you will see throughout the video. Anyway, I believe if Hoenn had an Eeveelution of its own, a Steel-type Eeveelution would fit fantastically. This is because, back in Gen 2, Steel along with Dark were 2 types that were newly introduced, and the Dark type received a new Eeveelution in Umbreon during that generation, but the Steel type got the short end of the stick in this regard. Because a new Eeveelution is such an amazing way to introduce a new type, and has literally been done for every new type that's been introduced past Gen 1, except for Steel, I think Steel deserves some love as well. Not to mention, the Steel type is significant in Hoenn as it is the signature type of Hoenn's champion, Steven Stone, so he could have had this Steel type Eeveelution on his team, or maybe even gifted one to you, and it would have been a perfect fit. As far as its appearance, here are a couple different examples of how a Steel-type Eevee could appear. While both are great designs, I feel like this one is a little closer to how a Steel Eeveelution from Hoenn specifically would look. But I'm going to be showing off a couple different designs for each pick to give you all more of an idea of the potential that both these regions and these types have for new Eevee evolutions. The next region on our adventure is Univa, and Univa, in regards to Eevee, is a tricky thing to figure out. Since Univa is portrayed as so out of the way and isolated, it honestly is probably a good thing that it didn't get an Eeveelution, but if it did, I ultimately determined that the interesting normal type Eeveelution would be best for this region. A normal type Eeveelution has always been a conundrum since Eevee is normal type itself, so many fans have wondered if a normal Eeveelution would ever happen at all. Well, while it is a valid question, I actually think it works pretty good as a hypothetical in Univa, and this is because, just like Univa itself, a normal type Eeveelution is kind of an outlier. It's odd because it belongs, but it also doesn't really fit in at the same time, so I feel that Univa and a normal Eeveelution actually share quite a lot of the same traits. Additionally, since Univa is such a black sheep amongst the other Pokemon regions, it would make a lot of sense that Eevee wouldn't be able to evolve the way it normally does, since the region is so isolated, and it would basically be forced to fend for itself, which could eventually cause it to evolve in a more traditional way, which would explain the normal type. That could also create an interesting dynamic as well, because if Eevee just evolved into its normal type evolution by level up, it would create an interesting choice for the trainer who uses it, since you could either go the easy route for an evolution and just level up your Eevee, or you could work a little harder to get an evolution of one of the fancier types. While the normal evolution option is pretty, well, normal, and these evolution concepts I've been showing demonstrate that, they also show that a normal Eeveelution can be cool too, and I think Univa definitely would have been a good fit for it. Another reason why I gave Univa the normal type Eeveelution is because as an American-based region, it is actually a sister region to Alola, which is also an American-based region. I feel that this kind of bonds them together in a way, and although I mentioned I wasn't going to do any paired Eeveelutions, I did feel that doing a sort of unofficial pair of Eeveelutions between related regions like Alola and Univa made sense, which is why I think the Ghost-type Eeveelution would be a good fit in Alola. A Ghost-type Eeveelution in Alola would mean that battle-wise, it would be completely ineffective against Univa's normal type and vice versa, which could be a good thing to bond them together. Additionally, however, the Ghost-type Eevee also works well for Alola in a number of other different ways as well. First, Ghost is more of an exotic type for an Eevee evolution to have, which I feel matches the more tropical Alola region. Additionally, Pikachu received a kinda sorta Ghost version of itself in Alola with Mimikyu, and with Eevee basically being the secondary mascot of Pokemon alongside Pikachu, I think it would have also made sense for a Ghost Eeveelution to happen here for this reason as well. So there is plenty of reason in my eyes that Alola could have received a Ghost-type Eeveelution, and Alola would have been a great fit for it, but in general, a Ghost-type Eevee would just be amazing for the simple fact that it's a Ghost-type Eevee, as these designs I have been showcasing clearly illustrate. I particularly like this one, and feel like this could actually be what a real Ghost Eeveelution looks like if we ever get one. And last, but certainly not least, the last non-Eeveelution region we have to cover is Galar. I think Galar was a bit more disappointing in the Eeveelution category than normal, because it seemed as if there was so much potential for a new Eeveelution to happen here. Eevee had recently been anointed as a secondary mascot by the time Galar came around, and Galar is the 8th main series region, and historically, new Eeveelutions have been introduced in every even-numbered generation to that point. So odds seem to be in our favor, but alas, this did not happen. However, that does not mean that it wouldn't have been a perfect fit for a new Eeveelution, and boy oh boy would it have ever been perfect. In particular, it was perfect for a dragon-type Eeveelution, to the point that it's a shame that it didn't happen. First, a dragon-type Eevee in Galar makes sense because Galar is based off of the UK, which is in Europe, and Europe is definitely known for its dragons. Second, the last Eeveelution we saw is Sylveon, who is a fairy type, and was introduced in the France-based Kalos region, which sits right next to the UK, which Galar is based on. Between that and the fact that Sylveon is the only standalone Eeveelution to this point, it would have made sense to introduce another in Galar to pair with Sylveon due to the region's close proximity, and with Sylveon being fairy type, a perfect type to pair with it would have been Dragon. That's not even mentioning that a Dragon-type Eeveelution has been extremely highly requested over the years, and that it would look absolutely amazing as these designs I've been showcasing clearly demonstrate. So all in all, this one probably more than any other on this list is a dang shame that it didn't happen, so hopefully this wrong will be righted and we will get a Dragon Eeveelution someday. So what do you think of these picks? Do you think these Eeveelutions would have been cool to see in these regions without one? Let me know in the comments below, and subscribe if you haven't for more Pokemon content all the time. Also, be sure to check out the artists of these designs with the link in the description, and you can also further support this channel if you would like by checking out my Pokemon remixes on Spotify and by watching my Pokemon Cardinal series here on YouTube, both of which are massively appreciated. With that said, I will see you all soon with another video, and until then, as always, I will smell you guys later.